we issue assets in liquid. So for example, a company says, I need to buy 1,000 unique assets because I'm going to issue 1,000 pagares, or I'm going to use 1,000 pagares with my clients. So we issue 1,000 unique assets for them in liquid. And then as they generate these promissory notes that they're going to, every time they lend, they generate a promissory note, they take the unique ID and then they put it in their document and they send it off to sign. And so once it's signed, it's legally and cryptographically linked to the document that they signed. So now you have like this asset in the blockchain, and then you have this metadata, which is basically what the asset represents, which is a PDF. And then when you combine both is when you have this promissory note that is digital and it's unique, and you can transfer around, and everybody knows who holds it at any given time. It's like a reverse NFT, because in an NFT, you have the asset in the blockchain, and then it points to a URL where you have like the image of a monkey. Here, it's the opposite. You have the asset in the blockchain, and then in the digital document, you put the asset. And so it's exactly the reverse. And the metadata, instead of being in a server somewhere where you have a little image of a chimp, here you have a PDF that is a legal document of someone owes money to someone.
It sounds like its value might be easier to calculate than a monkey picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, never stop laughing at the monkey pictures. In the digital asset, Bitcoin, crypto world, is that there is clearly a hunger for yield, like people want to get return. And I think there's an opportunity that's opening up after all of these blowups over the last 12 or 18 months. And I think this structure that you're putting together with promissory notes and that we have also with securities is just so much more transparent. It's just such a step up because there's clearly defined obligations that issuers have to do. All the details are out there for people willing and able to look into them. So I think it's just such a safer thing for investors than, something like, much more speculative, like a protocol yield or something like that.
This is debt that is owned by Mexican businesses and Mexican individuals. So of course, there's default rates, but the way that these things get set up, they analyze the debt bundle that you're putting, and they say, okay, this probably will have an 8% default rate or whatever, and then they value it, right? So these are yield instruments, but they are also not protocol yields. This is debt, and so it's a very well-known instrument, and it's relatively easy to price. And relatively easy to know what the return will be depending on some conditions. So we're about to break the 70,000 promissory note issuance. And it translates to about $230 million in debt that represents.
Okay, and then presumably, like you said, the investment banks will package that up and then offer that as a product to probably typically institutional investors, right?
Yes. So, well, there's some investment banks, they just buy them or lend against them to get return on the money that they have. Others will repackage and do more investment banking things with them. And some of these will end up, as I mentioned before, in the Mexican stock exchange, and then they will be IPO'd.